الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على النبي الكريم وبعد. As we continue our Thursday sessions in Mutala'ah, from a branch of knowledge is to browse over books of knowledge and topics of discussion which concerns the public or concerns in specific a student of knowledge. So from the topics that concern us, especially living in this society, the Western society, is the topic of modern day theories, of what they bring forward, of scientific theories that they say that are facts, proven, and that it's to be relied upon and believed in. So I thought that it's incumbent, especially that some of the people, they learn these theories in school and as part of a curriculum that they study and they're forced to learn, is that we understand what Islam's standpoint concerning these theories and if they're correct, and as if it is is there any discrepancies or level of acceptance towards them, and should we consider this compatible to Islam, what they're saying? Should we accept it as a whole, or should we be cautious and take every theory and examine it and see if Islam proves it? But really, you're going to see, we're going to read from a booklet, a couple of booklets written in Arabic, showing the discrepancies of many of the modern day theories to Islam, to the belief of Islam. I'm going to show how inaccurate they are, and even they themselves, scientists, some have come out and testified against these theories from their own people. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. A member of their own came out and testified against them. And this is from the greatest of testimony that you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought out here. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. One of their own came out and testified against them. And this is quite embarrassing, that they say they're the people of facts, they're the people of academic research, and they have observations of certain datas to prove what they're saying, and then you find at the end doubt over doubt. So especially when they're speaking about the actions of Allah, the creation and the details of certain things that are from the unseen, when they start speaking about these affairs and predicting and assuming and speaking upon conjectures, this becomes a vital matter that we need to talk about, inshallah. So we have here a booklet that's famous, sold in a lot of places, is online. So I thought to comment on it because it contains a lot of errors. Some have already, from different du'ats, have come and spoken about it and brought some observations. Is the work of Zakir Naik, Dr. Zakir Naik. He wanted, perhaps his intention was correct, to guide the non-Muslims and show the beauty of Islam and how perfect the Quran is. But the approach was incorrect. And we're going to show that, and he's going to read from a part why Zakir Naik brings this approach, because maybe as many of these people of these modern day theories who believe that it coincides with Islam, they believe that the religion, it has to go with science, or they say that they're a pair of two, and that our belief are based upon these affairs. So we're going to clarify that the science, that if it's intended the science from what the Western science, as they refer to as, with their theories and their assumptions and speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God, without no knowledge, then we're not in need of it. The deen is complete. For 1400 years, many of these theories didn't exist. And the Prophet ﷺ and his companions were calling to Allah, and those after, and many were becoming guided. So this new approach of giving da'wah and giving emphasis through these theories and trying to show how miraculous these theories are by coincides with the Quran and this and that, this new approach has went to a level of excessiveness, and they forgot the original tool of da'wah. قُلْ تَعَالَوْا إِلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, commanding, come to a kalima sawa. That's the da'wah. They used to call saying, come to a word that is straight and is clear and is upright. So tafaddal inshallah. Our goal is just, as reading over this, to comment briefly inshallah. Tafaddal.
According to the famous physicist and the Nobel Prize winner Albert Einstein, science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. Let us therefore study the Quran and analyze whether the Quran and modern science are compatible or incompatible. The Quran is not a book of science, but a book of signs. There are more than 6,000 signs in the Quran, of which more than 1,000 deal with hardcore science. We all know that many a times science takes a U-turn. In this book I have considered only established scientific facts and not hypotheses and theories based on mere assumptions and not backed by proof.
And I think introduction he mentioned that many of the people today, they require these proofs of scientific facts for them to believe. For this reason, what became rational and correct as approach to give them da'wah through mentioning these affairs. So some of them, they made this their objective, and this has been spoken by some of the mashayikh. And you find that some of the people that have preceded these English du'at or these speakers who preceded them in this is Sayyid Qutb. Sayyid Qutb is one that used the Tafsir of the Quran in this approach. You find a lot of the ayats, he tries to stretch its meaning to suit modern day theories. And perhaps the early ones, those who came after, and them, whoever came after them, none of them explained the ayah like that. And it comes all these years after to explain it in that way. And then later on you come and you find out that theory perhaps was wrong. And you explain the Quran in that way. And we're going to see some of the examples of some of the ayat. They do tafsir on certain ayats. They have no one from the righteous predecessors who preceded them, and they explain it in that manner. On the basis we're giving da'wah to the non-Muslims. So we're going to see that. This is an affair that's very, Muhammad bin Salih Uthaymin rahimahullah, he mentioned, it's a serious affair for you to use, even suppose it is true. Something came out to be a reality. But you're going to say that the meaning of this ayah is what happened and this time, or whatever's happening in the clouds, what's been discovered is the meaning of that ayah. To predict that and to say that could be a qawl ala Allah bighair, to speak about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without knowledge. And it could be a great sin, especially if you have no basis for it. So this statement, you're going to see, that some of them, they will even say that there's no way that the modern day theories could go against the Quran. That if it's going against the Quran, then there's something we have to interpret the Quran differently, they say. So we have to interpret the verse differently to suit modern day science. That became the standard. So people have become so into this. And Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah has some beautiful speech where he mentions that we're not in need of the speech of other than the Muslims concerning our deen, to go and to these affairs and try to identify and bring in their quotes. The religion is complete without them. The religion is complete without their statements. But if a person were to use the statements of their own against them at certain occasions, that's okay. Just to show that even your own people attest to this, and this was attested by the Quran long ago. We believe in the Quran and its own. We don't require statements of your own. So not making it the basis, but make it perhaps secondary on the side. Hold on, inshallah, we're going to go on to the next issue.
Astronomy, creation of the universe, the Big Bang. The creation of the universe is explained by the astrophysicists as a widely accepted phenomenon, popularly known as the Big Bang. It is supported by observational and experimental data gathered by astronomers and astrophysicists for decades. According to the Big Bang, the whole universe was initially one big mass, primary nebula. Then there was a Big Bang, secondary separation, which resulted in the formation of galaxies. These then divided to form stars, planets, the sun, the moon, etc. The origin of the universe was unique, and the probability of it happening by chance is nil. The Quran contains the following verse regarding the origin of the universe. Do not the أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and the earth were joined together as one unit of creation before we clove them asunder? Al-Quran 21:30.
طيب, this part, inshallah, we're going to comment on that the theory of the Big Bang theory, that really it's an evolutionist theory in reality. You can find people of their own saying that it is not something that explains why the universe was brought into existence. The Big Bang theory doesn't explain that. They just said it explains the evolution of it, the development of how things formed from another to another. But it doesn't explain the original thing, how it was brought in from existence, being nothing to something. And this concept, there's a lot of questions that arise of it. And the main thing, that the main belief of this is built upon ilhad, the lack of belief in God, and that things just happen upon a coincidence. So it happened upon a coincidence. That's the answer. That's an academic answer of scientists. You ask them, why does it happen? Upon a coincidence. This is their answer. You find that someone that's referred to being a researcher, a man with academic studies of his own, of studying this and that, and at the end you ask him a question, he just says a coincidence. It's quite embarrassing. We're going to read here some kalam of Sheikh Saleh Sindi. He tackles this doubt in detail. I'll the brother to read this part, inshallah.
The Big Bang Theory. In summary, the origin of the creation comes from one cell that was swimming in a time and place. Then one day, all of a sudden, it just exploded about 15 million years ago. So based off of this theory, this world came from the cell that was the size of a pin. The question they're unable to answer about this theory is, where did the cell come from? Why was this cell still then moved all of a sudden?
At that particular time, why did it all of a sudden move? They can't answer that question. And how did that cell come about? And even they differ in their wordings of this cell, or the size of it, or if it was a combination of a material from space, of gases, of a combination of certain materials. They said it just all of a sudden broke apart and formed galaxies of this, galaxies of that. Then all of a sudden it came and it became what we see as the sky and the earth and planets and stars.
What's the difference between the moments of the explosion compared to the others? How did the Big Bang organize such a well-structured universe?
That's a question. Another question arises. They can't answer that up until now. How did the Big Bang come with such a well-structured universe? An explosion erupted and it just came and provided all what we see now. This is a question that they cannot answer up until then. And what the author mentioned here, Zakir Naik, he said that they say they have certain data that they observed. They came to certain measurements to come to understand and believe that there was an explosion that brought this all about. They themselves, some of their own scientists, have mentioned that there's certain data that are lacking up until now. Certain evidence to put together this whole Big Bang theory it's not complete in its research. So them saying that they have an observation and data that's put together to prove this, it's inaccurate and deficient.
How did a non-living thing come from matter and transform into living beings with intellects?
And this goes back to the evolutionist belief that they say the development from one form to another, from being non-living to being living, and then perhaps from one form to another, this is their belief. So this Big Bang theory, it was originally used to support the evolution belief. So it's not befitting for the Muslims to add this in their books of da'wah. It's not to no way whatsoever befitting. This in particular has been criticized against Dr. Zakir Naik. There is, yes, the ayah that he's going to read, we're going to clarify concerning it, inshallah. Hold on.
Whenever you ask an atheist the question about how non-living beings became living, they reply, by coincidence. Coincidence is Lord of the worlds, according to the atheists.
At times they say a source of energy, outbreak of energy that came about. They use the word coincidence. They're just running away from the word God. They're running away from the word God at the end of the day. Hold on.
Yes. Philosophy.
Inshallah. So, another matter that I want to mention in particular, this Big Bang theory, there's a lot been written by different mashayikh to clarify the weakness of this statement, and that is not from Islam whatsoever. And we don't delve into these matters to speak about it and affirm it, because they themselves are lacking proof. And if we cannot rely upon their statements, and while their statements, imagine add to that, their statements are deficient. So we're not allowed to rely on their statements, even if it was complete. So imagine if they were statements were deficient. That's the affair. So I wanted to clarify another benefit, that there are other du'at that come online and they say similar statements. And the ayah that was read in Surah Al-Anbiya, chapter 21, verse number 30, the meaning of it: do not the unbelievers see that the heavens and the earth were joined together, and we clove them asunder, and we separate them. So they're saying that this is the Big Bang theory. This is the statement that they're saying. So we're going to read the tafsir of this ayah and show how erroneous this is. To explain this ayah in this way. So there are four well-known tafsir of this ayah that was read. The first of it, the first tafsir, that the heavens and the earth were once joined together and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separated them both. The second tafsir, that the heavens was once one structure on its own. It wasn't divided to 7 heavens or 7 sky levels. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala divided into 7 heavens. And the same with the earth. It was once one, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it 7 layers or 7 earths. The third tafsir, we mentioned briefly, and then we're going to explain it, inshallah. Third tafsir is that the heavens and the earth were joined together, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separated between them by putting air, or what we refer to as oxygen, air between them. Open area. And the fourth one, that the heavens or the sky never used to provide rain, and the earth never used to sprout out with vegetation. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed the heavens to asunder out with rain, and the earth to break out with vegetation. 4 well-known tafsir. The first one was ruling on the first statement, that the heavens and earth was once joined together and then Allah separated them. That is not correct. Why? Because the earth was created before the heavens. The earth was created before the heavens. That we know that it comes that the earth was created before the heaven. So for them, they were once together, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala separated. That's incorrect. And any statement that came on some of the Salaf that ascribed of the earth and the heavens once with one creation together, joined together and then separated, that is unauthentic to them. لم يصح عنهم. So we say firstly the meaning of what we've mentioned, it's not authentic on any of them, of the Sahabas or the Tabi'een. At the same time, it goes against from what's apparent of the Quran, that the earth was created before the heavens. So this is the basis of the statement is incorrect. And even to connect it to the Big Bang theory is even more erroneous. It's not, there's a lot of errors coming from that. The second statement that says that the heavens was once one structure, it wasn't divided into 7 heavens. That one, that there is a statement like that has been ascribed, and it has its basis, has its proofs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ فَسَوَّاهُنَّ سَبْعَ سَمَوَاتٍ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went towards the heavens and He made it 7 heavens. So there was a heaven before He made it 7 heavens. And the third opinion, that we say that the heavens and the earth were separated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making between each one, making separated by open space or open area between them. That also has a proof. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, usually when He mentions the heavens and the earth, what does He usually say? وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا, and what is between them. He says, and we have created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them. So there has a proof. As for the last opinion, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it to asunder or to break out with rain and the earth to break out with vegetation, that is one of the strongest opinions, and that's the majority of the scholars of Tafsir, or the well-known scholars that are well-known for assessing the matters of correct opinions. They have inclined to this one. So the first one is erroneous, to say that the heavens and the earth was one creation together. They weren't even separated. They weren't known as heavens and earth. They were all one, joined together. Because we know that the earth was created before the heavens. So there was an earth. It was separated. And it also goes against what they claim. So say that it was originally an explosion that just came about and formed the earth. Well, we know the earth already existed. We know the earth already existed. So that is incorrect to use the ayah. Is there any other speech before we move on? Huh? What does he read?
The striking similarity between the Quranic verse and the Big Bang is inescapable. How could a book, which first appeared in the deserts of Arabia 1400 years ago, contain this profound scientific truth?
So here he's seeing this Big Bang theory as a fact. Even some of them they refer to as a science law. It's a theory. Still, it hasn't been proven. They themselves saying it's lacking evidence and data to really prove what they're saying. And they themselves, they differ on the details of it. So astronomers, we're going to take their statements and explain an ayah to suit what they say. This is a sad reality. Move on to the next one, Shant. Hold on.
Initial gaseous mass before creation of the galaxies. Scientists agree that before the galaxies in the universe were formed, celestial matter was initially in the form of a gaseous matter. In short, huge gaseous matter or clouds were present before the formation of the galaxies. To describe initial celestial matter, the word smoke is more appropriate than gas. The following Quranic verse refers to this state in the universe by the word which means smoke.
Yes, the origin of the creation of the heavens was what they say out of a gaseous or a dukhan, a smoke that was brought about, that put together the clouds or the sky. Yes, that comes. But to say the original of creation was from this smoke or this gaseous material that came about, that's incorrect. We just only have the heavens. And inshallah we stop with this. The adhan, inshallah, we'll continue next Thursday, inshallah. Barakallahu.